Hello, welcome to Everything Recapped. Today I will show you the recap of a historical Hindi movie titled Ponniyin Selvan. Spoiler alert, watch out and take care. Ponniyin Selvan is the first of two cinematic parts based on Kalki Krishnamurthy's 1955 novel Ponniyin Selvan. It dramatizes the early life of Chola prince Arulmozhi Varman, who would become the renowned emperor Rajaraja I from 1947 to 1014. The three main points of the plot are the ruler Sundara Chozhan and his sons Aaditha Karikalan and Arunmozhivarman, who later ruled as Rajaraja Chozhan. The conspiracies and the struggle for power between the main characters and those around them forms the basis of this story. During the 10th century in Tanjavur, the Chola dynasty ruled prosperously in South India under the reign of Emperor Sundara Chozhan, whose sons Aaditha Karikalan and Arulmozhivarman, aka Ponniyin Selvan, are heading their conquests of Kanchi and Lanka for the Chola Empire. Aaditha Karikalan, a great prince who has won several battles including one against the Pandyas and also killed their king who made them promise to make their revenge over the kingdom of Chola. While the Pandyas plan their revenge, Karikalan journeys to Rashtrakutas to take over the kingdom. His younger brother Arunmozhi is also on a journey to Lanka with his force while their ailing father is at home. The three of them do not know what's coming for them. Over at Rashtrakutas, Karikalan wins the battle and the king of Rashtrakutas, King Kotiga, confronts him. At that point, Kotiga assumes he will die, but Karikalan refuses to kill him. He says he won't take the blood of a weaponless person again, and he rides away while Kotiga keeps begging him to kill him. Karikalan returns to his lodge where he meets his close friend, Vallavarayan Vandiya Davigal. Sensing something amiss in Chola, Aditha Karikalan sends his friend, the Vanar clan's prince, Vallavarayan Vandiyadevan, to investigate and relay the news to his sister, Princess Kundavai and Sundara Chozhan, subsequently at the Pasayarai palace. Also, he gives Vandiya Davigal his sword. He tells Vandiya Davigal he wants him to go to Kadambur fort. Vandiya Davigal attempts to reject the job at first and asks Karikalan to offer another person. But Karikalan tells him he has reasons to believe that some people are planning against his kingdom, and he wants Vandiya Davigal to spy on his behalf. As a loyal friend and servant, Vandiya Davigal leaves for his journey immediately with his horse, Simba. As he journeys, he sees some people gathering by the water and goes to find out what's happening. He is told the Minister of Finance and Treasurer of Chola Periyar, Pazuvettarayar, is traveling around. He continues his journey where he meets a priest, Nambi. He sees Pazuvettarayar passing again. He asks about Pazuvettarayar, and Nambi tells him the lady in the palanquin behind Pazuvettarayar is his wife, Nandini, and his wife commands him. He also hears from Nambi that they are organizing a party at Kadambur royal home, and Nambi asks if he is going there. Nambi asks him to take him along or help him deliver a message to Nandini. But Vandiya Davigal refuses and leaves for the palace. He goes there, but the young security around stops him, despite him telling them he is the prince's friend. He retreats and forges in what they are distracted, and he enters. After the party, he spies on a meeting between Pazuvettarayar and the chief. Pazuvettarayar convinces them that the throne Chozhan sits on belongs to his uncle. The latter died when his son Madurantakan was his kid, which is why Chozhan took the throne. And instead of Chozhan crowning Madurantakan when he was of age, Chozhan made his son the crown prince. Pazuvettarayar argues the throne rightfully belongs to Madurantakan. The chief pledges to help him get the throne back to its rightful owner, and he tells them Madurantakan isn't in the palanquin behind him and not his wife. While spying, Vandiya Davigal sees Nambi spying too. So the following day, he tails Nambi to the river and asks him why he is at the capital. Nambi refuses to reply at first, but after he threatens Nambi to throw him into the water, Nambi says he is looking for Nandini. He tells Vandiya Davigal that Nandini was an orphan girl they found by the neighbor's house, and his neighbor trained her until she went missing. They heard she is marrying Pazuvettarayar, so he has come to see her hoping he will get her to serve Shiva as he does. He says his message for Nandini is that Krishna is waiting for her. He leaves Nambi and orders his horse to disturb the palanquin patrol. He bursts into the palanquin hoping it would be Madurantakan there, but meets Nandini. She figures he purposely busted at her and asks him what he wants. He tells her he is coming to deliver a message from Nambi. Although he tells her he isn't Nambi's servant but Karikalan's friend. Nandini gives him her ring. She tells him to meet her in her quarters the next day as she can't speak there. She goes to the emperor's palace despite knowing Pasuvettarayar's younger brother is the commander and he restricts entrance into the palace. As he gets there, the commander asks of his mission, and when he says he brought news from Karikalan to the king, the commander refuses to let him in. He shows the commander Nandini's ring and tells him it was given to him by Pasuvettarayar, and it was Pasuvettarayar who asked him to see the king. The commander allows him in. As he gains entrance, he delivers his message to the king, who asks how he will be sure the message is from Karikalan. The king sees the sword on him and figures the sword was the one he carved himself and gave Karikalan. He figures Vandiyadavigal is rightfully sent to him, and Vandiyadavigal tells him he is at risk. They notice the commander is coming, so he changes his conversation and pretends to be begging the king to release his village. The queen orders the commander to treat him well as he leaves the palace. But the commander asks his men to hold him in the palace. He runs away. He finds a ladder and climbs on it without knowing it is for a spy who visits Nandini. He gets to Nandini and speaks to her about what Nambi has sent him. She sends him through a secret door. Meanwhile, Pasuvettarayar finds out about Vandiyadavigal's visit from his brother, the commander. Chinna and Chinna tells him Vandiyadavigal came with his ring. He leaves to meet Nandini angrily, but she tells him she works for him and not against him. He is entirely poisoned with her beauty that he can't doubt her. Later, Nandini meets Ravidasan, a spy from Pandian who works with Nandini to destroy Chola. She gives him Lankan coin and asks him to go to Lanka and bring Arunmozhi's head. Vandiyadavigal tries to find his way to the princess. He gains entrance to her by joining the dance crew. After the dance, he sends word to the princess. Kundavai and Kundavai come to meet him by the river. Upon setting his eyes on her, he falls in love with her. He delivers his message, and she tells him she will give him a message for her younger brother, Arulmozhi, before he leaves. On the other hand, Madurantakan visits his mother. She asks him if what he hears about her is true, and he tells her he wants to take his throne back. His mother tells him the throne doesn't belong to him. His father has given the throne to the emperor, and he has no right to it. He has been training as a Shiva worshipper, and that's what his father wanted, so he should obey his father. But Madurantakan insists he was trained as a Shiva worshipper against his will. He will ensure he becomes the emperor. She reminds him he has no battle skills, but he tells her the chiefs are behind him, and whether she likes it or not, he will be the king. Karikalan continues fighting his battles despite knowing there is a threat on his throne. His right-hand man tries to advise him to return to his kingdom, but he refuses. He claims Kundavai will do what's right. Upon mentioning Nandini's name, Karikalan's anger increases. After leaving his best friend, Parthibendran speaks to him and asks him to forget Nandini as she is now another man's wife. But he reminds him Nandini only married Pasuvettarayar because of her revenge against him. And he was the one who pushed her to it. He remembers when they were in love with each other, how the emperor and the chief refused him to marry a poor orphan and they had to banish her. When he wages war against Pandya, he sees Nandini with the king, a man she has wholeheartedly fallen in love with after being banished. She begs him not to kill the king, but his jealousy causes him to kill the king, and Nandini vows to revenge. In Lanka, Arunmozhi wins the battle and saves the city. As a result, the priest calls him and tells him that according to a prophecy, he is giving him the crown of the town and he should rule them. But Arunmozhi refuses the offer. He says he has a crown from his father, which will stop him from taking another crown. Kundavai, the political genius, visits the emperor. She speaks with her father about the conspiracy and tells him the chiefs are planning to meet Pasuvettarayar at night. The chiefs begin their meeting and they all plan how they will take over the kingdom before two princes arrive. Suddenly, Kundavai comes in with the main aim of confusing their meeting. She tells them she is ready to get her brothers wedded, and she thinks the daughters of the chiefs are a perfect fit. She says any one of the daughters whose zodiac sign fits her brothers will get married to the lady. After the meeting, Nandini tells Pasuvettarayar that the princes are returning and are planning to kill their father and put the blame on Pasuvettarayar, so she will make Pasuvettarayar angrier. Meanwhile, Vandiyadavigal leaves for Lanka to meet Arulmozhi. Upon getting to Lanka, the Pandya warriors also arrive to kill Arulmozhi, the Ponniyin Selvan. At the kingdom, Pasuvettarayar meets with the emperor and tells him his two sons are fighting for the throne. The emperor insists it's a rumor, but they ask him to bring the two sons and let them confirm it's a rumor. So he orders that Pazhuvettarayar declare Arulmozhi wanted and says he wants to imprison him. So Pazhuvettarayar will ensure Arulmozhi gets to the kingdom safely and also tells Kundavai to bring Karikalan to him. He says he will find a solution once he sees his two sons. In Lanka, Vandiyathavagal meets Nambi again. He finds out Nambi is also a spy, and together they find Arulmozhi, a person who no one knows around, and he delivers Kundavai's letter to him and also gives him a letter from Vanati, a princess of Kodumbalur, and Arulmozhi love. On the other hand, Pazhuvettarayar and Nandini give a stroll from the king to the soldiers to bring Arulmozhi home, so he will be imprisoned. Arulmozhi leaves for Chola with Vandiyathavagal and Namba. On their way, the Pandyas attack them on the bridge. Their carriage falls into the water and they hold them in a net. But a random woman with her head covered with white hairs rides on an elephant and saves him. After recovery, he asks Vandiyathavagal if he knows why he is called the Ponniyin Selvan. Just like the myth everyone in the city knows, Vandiyathavagal says that it's because he fell from the river as a child and Mother Ponni saved him. He says it's not Mother Ponni that saved him. It's Oomai Rani, the same woman who saved them the day before. He claims not to know why this woman fights for him, and he wishes to know his connection with her. Kundavai visits Karikalan and begs him to return to Chola, but Karikalan refuses. He reminds her she was the one who caused all that happened to him after reporting about Nandini to their mother, and says he won't return to Chola unless Nandini leaves. He asks her to find a way to bring the emperor and Arulmozhi to him, but she tells him a royal scroll is out to order for Arulmozhi's arrest. The soldiers arrive in Lanka with the news. A boat girl hears the news, and a Pandya rebel also hears. The rebel goes to meet the king of Lanka, who he knows is Arulmozhi's enemy, and tells him about the order. He says if the king gives him soldiers, he can bring Arulmozhi's head to him. Also, Karikalan sends his friend, Parthibendran, to inform Arulmozhi of the conspiracy and asks him to come to the kingdom he is in. The boat girl also arrives to tell Arulmozhi what she heard from the soldiers. At this point, Arulmozhi says if his father has ordered his arrest, he must comply. Everyone around begs him to reconsider, but he refuses. He enters and gives the Vandiyathavagal his prince turban and dresses Vandiyathavagal like himself. He leaves with Poon Guzali, the boat girl, to find the soldiers and show himself to them. He takes the elephant with Poon Guzali and they drive away. Meanwhile, Vandiyathavagal looks for Arulmozhi and the Pandya rebels find him. They assume he is Arulmozhi, but when they are about to kill him, they remove his turban and find out he isn't the prince. They kidnap him, and when Arulmozhi hears, he takes a boat with Poon Guzali to find him. They see their ship and swim there. They enter the ship and start a fight. The storm starts and the ship capsizes. They are drowned in the broken ship. News gets to the city about Arulmozhi's death, and his brother Karikalan insists it's Nandini's fault, and he prepares to wage war against Nandini. He says it's either he kills her or she kills him. At her palace, Nandini is seen carrying her sword too. Meanwhile, in the river, the Oomai Rani swims into the river to save Arulmozhi again. The film ends on this note, with the title changing of Ponniyin Selvan 1 changing to Ponniyin Selvan 2, which will be released in 2023. For those not familiar with the novels, this may come as a shock, but those who have read the books know that the Oomai Rani is actually Mandakini Devi, the deaf-mute queen and Nandini's mother. How is Mandakini connected to Arulmozhi? But what is Mandakini's connection to Arulmozhi and why is she so protective of him? The answer is the backstory provided in Kalki's 5-volume novels. Now we move on to spoilers from the books, which may spoil part 2. So anyone not up for that, you may want to avoid watching any further. Mandakini was in love with the emperor Sundara Chola before he was a king, but they could not marry. Mandakini in the end did marry and had 2 kids. Yes, not 1 but 2. The first is Nandini and the second is actually Madhurantakan, who was switched at birth and whom the Chola courtiers now want to install as the emperor. Neither Mandakini nor Madhurantakan know that they are mother and son. Mandakini in fact believes that her son was stillborn. This unfulfilled maternal protective instinct makes her care for her former lover's son Arulmozhi. Mandakini will have a larger role in part 2, and the film will explain much of her tragic backstory as well, particularly her bond with the titular character. Without spoiling much of the plot, I can simply say that part 2 will have more twists and turns than part 1 has managed so far. Thanks for watching the recap. Kindly subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post the next recap. See you next time.